Right, Sally, yes. This is probably one of the most popular hymns of this century. It was written in 1913 by a gentleman called George Bennard, who wrote this for a revivalist meeting in Michigan. And I'm sure when we start, you'll know exactly what it's called.
On a hill far away stood that old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross with the dearest and best, for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay out. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. For the old rugged cross, I'd never be true. Its shame and reproach gladly bear. Then he'll call me someday to my home far away, and his glory forever I'll share. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay out. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a
The Real Ale and Thunder Band was formed in 1977. I met them inside the Maltings with Peter Waddington, a church warden of St Lawrence Dowton in Wiltshire.
Peter, you actually have the claim of having discovered this lot. How did it happen?
Well, they used to play in the Bull at Downton, and I used to go along on Thursday nights to listen to them. And I got to know them through that. I booked them for several dances in the village and concerts. And I was chatting with Chris one day, and we were talking about church music, and I said, I think that church music drives more people away from the church than it brings in. And I suggested to Chris it might be good if we could have a jazz band in church. And
Chris fell on the floor.
Well, I think it's a nice idea, and in fact, it's not original. It was done by, certainly by the George Lewis Band in New Orleans in the 50s. I mean, we just really felt amongst, as far as the Real Ale and Thunder Band was concerned, that if we were going to do this in church, we would like to make sure we got the words right and do a bit of research. But the interesting thing is that when we play this sort of music in public, in dances, a lot of the spirituals which we play get a very good reception, and the crowd join in. We just thought if we can get that atmosphere and that attitude in a church, it would be wonderful.
And Peter, what did you find the reaction was? I mean, you must have been a bit nervous.
we were very nervous the first evening. The band were very nervous because it was the first time for a long time they didn't have a pint of beer in their hand or a cigarette. But we didn't know what kind of reaction we would get. But as soon as it started, it was absolutely fantastic because everybody joined in, everybody started clapping, and then it went down very well. So well, in fact, that we then did it in Salisbury Cathedral, and then in Wimborne Minster, and we
Songs of Praise.
And now Songs of Praise, the ultimate.
What do you think makes jazz such a good vehicle for expressing spiritual truths and depths?
Well, there's a history of religion. I mean, the deep south of America is a very religious part of the world, and early jazz has got a very strong religious background to it, and you will find that of all the component parts of jazz, gospel music is one of the most important.
And what interests me is that there's nothing trite about jazz because it actually was born in hardship. I mean, it's tough music,
Slavery,
isn't it?
in fact, yes, terrible thing. But of course, what happened was that the slaves were converted by missionaries. They found religion, I think, in the New World rather than in Africa. And it was missionaries really that converted them to Christianity. And of course, the combination of that European hymns, if you like, with native African rhythms becomes one of the pillar stones of the whole of jazz music.
It's exciting and it's infectious, and we have found through playing different forms of music over the years that it has no aggression attached to it. In fact, it positively emanates goodness and makes people happy.
So what are you going to play for us?